BDS are the ones wearing a very solid crown right now. It's barely even slipping to the side, unless, of course, you're looking back at their recent game. Didn't go as well as maybe they would have hoped, but still, they sit at the top of the table, especially given Rogue's meteoric crash down to earth is the only way I can describe it. You saw what happened in that last game. It wasn't pretty, so that means BDS are pretty much undisputed at the top, and I'd love to see Secret take a challenge to that here in Stage 2. We're into our bans, and guess what? We're starting off with a Monty ban. I do wonder, Jess, what that second ban coming out of BDS is going to be. Could never even have a thought in the world about what kind of operator they want to ban away against Packball.
I mean, we called him Rat Bull for a reason, right? The way he played on the Clash last time we saw him on Oregon, quite frankly, and look at that. They're actually doing a BDS ban, getting rid of the Wamai for BDS. So BDS actually can now get rid of the Clash without having to get rid of their mainstay ban, which is Wamai. I think the reason that we're waiting for the timer too is because they're discussing that exact fact.
You say the mainstay ban, they've actually moved away from banning it. They've gone to the next level, right? Everyone else is stuck in 6 months ago, and BDS are like, right, that's it. We're on to the next ban. Quite a few games this season, they haven't banned away the Wamai. I'm not sure if it's because they're now saying, right, everyone has got used to playing without the Wamai. Now let's bring it back in to really dice things up a little bit. Their whole game plan is absolute confusion, and I love seeing the Clash come out, by the way. It was already in my sheet before I wrote anything else in. The Clash was going to be the defensive ban. It is just the go-to against Secret because Packball plays it so darn well. And in fact, it was on this map we saw his brilliant 1v1 post-plant clutch, if you remember. I think anyone looks at that and goes, yep, take that operator away from that man.
It was unbelievable. And the way he was able to 180 with it as well, the SPSMG9, you shouldn't be able to do things with it that he has been able to do with it. I mean, I think Pengu's the only one that's been able to rival him in close history. So good that that's gone, but there's a Ying. And I worry myself here because the last time we saw, and this might have been an APAC, we actually saw them rely on the bottom floor, a Ying to be able to push in and get the plant down. With really smartly placed ADSs, that was sort of negated really quickly. I worry that if they don't cook them and they don't work really hard to get those Yings in really good places, Draven will be pushed back and just really useless on that operator.
Draven has been the man on this team that plays the not so much out there, unless we're talking about outer space, maybe operators such as Iana. That's a joke about Iana's references. If you got that one or if you missed it, you're a little bit too slow. He is the one who plays off on these strange operators off to the side, and in this case, it's the Ying. It's the execute operator they're going to be playing around, and I agree with you. Got to make sure that he's staying alive, coming around to the execution time, that is still alive for them. With the Wamai being banned away, it kind of makes sense if they've been prepping the Ying for this special occasion. And although I don't want to sit here and say for Secret they didn't prep for the last game against Na'Vi, I think it's very obvious that you look at the matchups they come into this week, knowing you can only really put your focus into one. Which team are you going to focus on? Who do you really fancy dethroning here and making a statement to the rest of the world? I'd say it's BDS.
Yeah, absolutely. Secret's got a really strong support team around them as well. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if they were able to fit in both. They're hard workers. They put the work in, and I wouldn't be surprised if the players were all about it. So I'm really excited. I really am excited to see this matchup. I think it probably bodes even a little bit well for Secret that they start on attack, especially if they're hyped going into the lobby. You want to get those attacks perfect to get to start off with. And Secret are that team that can really do well early and mid round, especially in stage 1 before the roster changes. Now after, they're just even better.
Dare I say here that BDS are a little bit predictable. They're doing here what we see them do every single time. It's Shaiko holding inside a boiler. He does change between playing on the pillar or playing on the doorway going into the blue tarp area itself. They know this. They've got the drones out. They've cleared out everything around the meeting side in case there was any change coming out of BDS, and we'll be very happy to confirm that nothing has changed. The one thing they've got to be worried about going for a drop here, and in fact that smoke's come out pretty soon. Are they going to go for a drop because they are surrounded on about 3 different sides by members of BDS? And the last thing you want is to do a death drop here, walking straight into the firing lines of all these members. But apparently that is their focus. In comes the Candela. They're definitely going to go for this, Jess. The second smoke comes out. It's now pulling the trigger. Who drops first? Who goes in? Shaiko still looking towards stairs. Is he not? Is it a bait?
No. They've baited both of them because they want someone to peek and to get the first one. That is a brilliant strategy. Don't know who came up with it. I love you. But guess what? You're up against the Kings. They don't get baited by anything.
It's either that or with the drones. You saw them running around at the time. Two of them are looking at dropping in, probably saying to them, well, no one's really in an uncomfortable spot here to make this work for us. There we go. Now they drop in, and now they get punished. Rafael finding Draven out nice and quick, and that is their execution operator coming through. Rafael's gone down. Shaiko, you forget about him. He is going to bite you in the backside, but Hype steps up and goes on a high, getting 2 kills for himself. He's finally going to get traded out as well. The numbers are still there for BDS. They committed a lot to this tower and meeting room taken. So far, it has done nothing but punish them. Shate has come in via construction. This has been his go-to attacking position pretty much every single time they have attacked this site. And they're in a spot now where discomfort is going to strike. Renshiro has managed to get himself upstairs. They've still got members on the downstairs. It's all down to Shate by himself to make some magic happen here. I don't want to sit here and say he's not a great player, but he's not the one I have in mind when I think of clutch potential. He's found one. Still 2 left. Only 10 seconds on the clock. This would be a miracle if he manages to snatch it all the way back in. There is one behind the shield. Do they know? Surely they know. Yes, he knows he's there. Alems knows that he's running at him, and he wins that little showdown towards the end. BDS taking round number 1. Some creative attempts coming out of Secret, but I'd argue still a pretty decisive round for BDS.
I really love that they baited it. I love that they threw the smoke. I love that they threw the candela and they waited. Will anyone run at us? Will they throw, most importantly, in the plant denial? That's what they wanted to bait out there. They wanted a C4 thrown out. They wanted smoke babes thrown out. They wanted something so that when they did eventually drop, they're not in this death tunnel of having those C4s run over. And if you hear dogs in the background, it's because it's 8 a.m. here in Australia and the dogs get walked every single morning at this time. So my apologies. I'll let you speak for a little and hopefully they're in the car by that time and I'll be back.
It's totally fine, Jess. They're so far distant because they know that this game is important to you and know there is therefore a 20-meter exclusion radius around your current location. The question is whether or not there's going to be an exclusion zone for Secret here on getting inside the building. BDS starting on the top floor will be looking to keep them as far away from these sites as possible. Sounds very obvious. It is a thing. This top floor, we spoke about it a lot when we first started seeing Oregon being played. It always came down to the denial. It came down to mutes. It came down to bandits. We're already seeing one of them coming out here with a focus, it looks like, towards Attic, at least initially. But imagine Breed A is going to try and help shoehorn the side of Secret into going into Trophy, as we often see, putting a focus on the wall that you're looking at here, which is the walk-in wardrobe coming in from Master Bedroom in towards the game room, where we often see teams go for plants in the northwest corner. Thank you very much, as highlighted very kindly by Medics. Now we'll see how things shape up. Start this round, nothing really worth shouting about on either side. You're seeing that Ying coming out once more. So the execution intent, I think, is still there for Secret. This time round, it won't be through a very single small hatch, though, so hopefully there's a little bit more breathing room for them when it comes around to getting on the site.
Interesting here that they know Draven has been taking the Ying. Maybe they thought he wouldn't take it again, and he is used to playing the Yana, so maybe they thought that's something he would just 6-pick onto instead. I'm not saying a Warden is the play, but when you're on a tight site like top floor this, having those Ying Candelas come zooming in, I'm thinking of bunks, I'm thinking of top white, for example, even double window behind the bunk bed, you don't want to be having to rely on one ADS to capitalize on that. So I'm a little bit worried that they haven't adapted to the problem that is Draven, and that seems to be the driving force of the attack here for Secret.
I wonder how many times we're going to see Hive and Shaiko squaring up against each other. Almost at the start of there, it's more like 2 ships passing. Why is he just throwing a Selma onto the solid concrete wall? I think he was hoping to get it through. I'm not entirely sure, but it's going to be sat there now doing very little.
What is it
I don't know.
It's a pretty little wallflower.
I mean, decorating Oregon is pretty shabby. It does need a bit of touching up, I guess. Maybe they were looking towards getting the walls open between Kids and Pig, but that really doesn't seem like the best idea when there is a member of BDS stood right there who can shoot it off. Really not sure. Maybe it's trying more to bait out the shots to give some information over to the side of Secret on where members of BDS were. But no one takes the bait anyway. Eventually gets cleared out, I believe, by a grenade coming out of Packball. And as you'd expect, this squaring up now around Trophy Doorway is going to come into effect. Smokes galore. Candelas come singing out. One bounces up the back of Hive. They're going to spam another one out, and surely they've heard this going down. Draven, thankfully, will not be blinded because he is indeed playing on the Ying, and they'll get away with this. They've managed to get just inside the Trophy Doorway and get the plant down and get out of dodge. Smoke just wearing out, and now BDS are like, right, we're in a spot where we've lost Renshiro. We're only 1 player down. Beautiful execute coming out of the side of Secret, and look at these holes. It's like Swiss cheese here in game room to give them some contested angles. BDS BDS know the response is to counter push, go aggressive and try and pick up kills, but it fails massively for them. Bride, one on Soprano, a long range shot coming through and almost a double coming out on white stairs, but not quite enough for Shate as they strike back. Hive finds a triple kill, or double kill, sorry, it could be a triple if he brings down his arch nemesis in Shaiko. He's in a 1 versus 2. If anyone could do it, he can. But Secret, this is what I wanted to see coming up against BDS. Some creative executes, Candelaing the hell out of Dorms into Attic, into Pig, making sure that Shaiko couldn't push and denying BDS the chance to execute. I absolutely love it.
You know how we were talking about our beautiful little Selma wallflower there? I realized when he threw the second Selma through that door, he was using it to cook the ADSs so that they could throw the candelas and the smokes. Now, when is the last time you've seen an ace player use Selmas to cook an ADS? Never.
I guess the issue they had there was they weren't aware there were no ADSs left, because he must have heard, because I saw him throw the smoke grenade out and that burnt or cooked the ADS and I was like, it's gone. He clearly didn't then get a drone in to find out is it entirely gone. But I guess at the end of the day, if your focus is to go for an execute like that through Trophy Door, you're like, well, we don't really need the Selmas. We've got Maverick making the wall going in from Wardrobe into Game Swiss Cheese, so we can see through it and contest in towards Pig. You have one on Big Window. There was Prano out towards the west, also contesting those members that were stuck behind the smoke that sat perfectly in the middle of Dorms. So I think I agree with you. The ace wasn't really needed. They had 2 smokes. They had the 3 Selmas to play with. That's a good way to go through ADSs. It's like bringing an Ash along if you really want to cut through gadgets like that.
I love it. It's creative. You also get the smokes in hand. You also, I mean, obviously if they had the Ying there with the smokes, you could have also had that as well. So that's really cool. That's a different version of adaptation I've not seen before. But now they've got the Warden. But guess what? The one moment I speak about the Warden is the moment that they don't take the Ying. Secret are unpredictable. Could this be the team that is too unpredictable for BDS and just takes them off guard?
Someone needs to tell Bride that he hasn't yet got hold of an Alda or the M4. You've got to wait a bit longer for that one potentially, buddy. But I agree with you. It's absolutely aimed towards the Ying, which is no longer being brought along. Secret aren't the kind of team that have one push, and if it fails, it's like, well, we try it again and just make sure we hit our shots. They are the kind of team that will mix things up round to round. I remember talking around their pushes on this map a couple of weeks ago. One round it was down in Freezer and Laundry. The next it was pushing around Meeting, as we saw. They do have a lot of ideas in mind around things that they can do, and it's one thing that I really picked them up for last season was the variation they bring, the strength of their attacks, and how well they execute. They aren't the kind of team to make crucial mistakes on the entry into a building and lose a couple of members. They did have problems when they got the opening kill to actually then convert around into a win sometimes, but the strategies are something I've never really been able to fault. Let's see what the focus is here. It looks like it's going to be starting up on the downstairs to make sure no one on the side of BDS is giving them any grief.
Well, we've seen Bride hit a lot of shots with the SMG-11, so why not just add one and the SMG-12 will be his main weapon stay here in this particular round. I don't think him taking Warden will really do anything different for him. I mean, usually he plays the smokes, but given how Secret are playing so unpredictable, he hasn't really been able to use them. Now he's on another operator, has the shield, I believe, has the same kit except for the SMG-11, it's an SMG-12. So I think he'll do a lot of work. Now, the big thing for Secret is trying to dodge all these vertical holes. They want to make vertical holes themselves, but they're challenging ones pre-made by the defenders as well.
I quite like this. The hope and intent is that you force these members out of kits. They can't play in these really hard to remove back positions. Very rarely do you ever see a clear attempt to come inside a kit. You're much more focused on pushing in and planting inside a game, for example. That's always the sort of thing that you look towards. Whereas here, they're trying to start from the back line and move their way forward to BDS. Sadly, BDS aren't letting them walk in and do whatever they want to here, as they've already brought down Draven. And I've got to touch on the drones. You know how much I love talking about my drones, Jess. We're down to just 2 left alive for Shate, and given he's now in a spot to try and recover and has a lot of utility left himself, I really doubt those drones are going to get used anytime soon. Draven should get himself recovered here. Shate's just got to be so careful of trade attempts coming in. It's a Lem trying to push out from Meeting. I think he's in the wrong sort of spot to try and trade this. And hey, there he is, actually, I say it. And Patbull steps into the firing line, gets himself put down in the ground. And that puts us essentially into a glorified 5 versus 3, only for Hive to trade it back onto Renshiro. Draven has been recovered, and suddenly there are a couple of kills trading back and forth. Alem and Shaiko go big. They still haven't dealt with this roaming Valkyrie by the looks of it. The Shate is going to push his way up the white stairs at the same time as someone else tries to take control of Master. Again, they still haven't dealt with the roaming Valkyrie. Prano all by himself with 2 seconds to go. This is a very Uncharacteristic time out for the side of Secret. They've run out due to the clock with 2 enemy members still left alive.
That was quite a positive start for Secret. I think what really let them down in total was BDS kept cool, calm, and collected, even though they were making so many vertical holes underneath. I think for BDS, they went, you can do it, and we'll just make sure that we have a crossfire to assist with these vertical holes. I don't know who it was, the Valkyrie on the freezer stairs to begin with, but I think it was a Lems, and I think the biggest thing with having those crossfires to assist you when you are being aggressed from underneath is that you don't play it too aggressively. Freezer stairs didn't. They got the down they didn't know, but the assisting player next to the buck also couldn't pick him up because, of course, they're underneath 100 vertical holes that they had made. So it's a win-lose situation there for Secret. They know what the job they want to do. They can't really do it because they haven't cleared everyone, and that's the risk you take when you go underneath, you focus on one side, and then you lose time out from all of those people aggressing around you.
We go back downstairs. As in round 1, we saw this meeting execute beyond the Ying. And in true Secret style, once again, they're going to change up the setup they're bringing along. This is something much more traditional, the kind of thing that we've seen out of Secret time and time again. Draven, I'm always touching on this guy changing across from being a buck to a sledge main and now playing a lot of Iana for the team as they really value the information it gives while still retaining that fragging capability. And I say fragging, I quite literally mean fragging in the sense of frag grenades. Draven, as we all know, has some excellent capability with those frag grenades. The number of kills he must have got, I'd love to see a counter for them at some point. I'd love someone to sit and grind through every Secret game and count how many he gets. But truthfully, I question if anyone has got that much time, given how many we've seen across last stage, Challenger League Season 11, and even here in Stage 2 as well. We'll see how it shapes up. Still plenty of time to go. It's going to be another tower setup coming out of Secret.
Secret making sure that they're really methodical with this top down, especially when you're going big tower. You want to make sure it's clear. You want to get control really quickly. And the time management for Secret here, I think, is the big talking point for them. I did question that exact Banshee. I think it was in round 1 that we saw that. And I was really wondering why they'd put it so far up, because it's so easily dispatched off. Why not move it further down? Because, I mean, someone could just shoot it. Someone could melee it quite quickly. And Shaiko's done this time and time again. Move up the back stairs. Be really aggressive. He wasn't able to have the impact down here last time we were on the bottom floor, purely out of the fact that they actually didn't push blue bunker at all. I think they're going to repeat the same thing here again. This time, will they have the smokes to be able to cover, getting that Selma off on the wall? That's what I think they were trying to do last time, as well as baiting out some of that planted arm.
So the one potentially looking at a flank on the side of BDS. There'll be a question on just how conservative they can be. Yana has dropped in, and as you would expect, that drone gets sprayed away. It's once again this triangle being set up by BDS as well, where you have the one playing in the corridor looking towards pillar, Shaiko playing to north of both the reinforced walls, and here we go. This is what we saw, I think, back in round 1, was the attempts coming out with the smokes in, trying to get the Selma wall open so they can threaten where Shaiko is. That is the big focus. They really want Shaiko gone, but constantly it is impact, impact, impact. They've got the Legion and the Lucy present to keep on denying this. It is constant, but this one I think is going to get away, and they've even masked it out with the smoke here. They could just spray the wall, but in this case it's not going to matter for them. Shate swings through and brings down Shaiko, so they have unsettled the beast. The king is dead. Alem trades it back. It's not the end of the world for them. It is a 4 versus 4, but still work for Secret to do here. 60 seconds to go, and BDS no doubt thinking, well, if they drop through the hatch, surely this is another cleanup job.
Yeah, they've done really well to be able to display Shaiko there, but the really well thought out trade there from Alems to come zooming out of elbow and just get that trade. A drop comes out, and this comes out of the fact that, well, they don't have any smokes left to deal with here. They're not going to be able to mask a lot of those important lines of sight. They don't have elbow control either, so they're literally going to have to run in. Draven just stands in the middle of the smoke vape there, and now with 20 seconds left, Des, I'm concerned. They don't have key angles open. They don't have smokes to cover this. What are they going to do? And they're probably going to fall like flies.
They've tried pre-firing this freezer angle so many times, but Renshiro is never there when they look, but he's there when they don't. This time around, he finds a kill into 4 versus 3, sorry, a 2 versus 4. Rafal finding out Papal, and like that, they fall down like a pack of flies. Reday with the final smoke kill coming out as well. Although that one was executed better than in round number 1, they got themselves downstairs. They had about 40 seconds to go. You're still the blind leading the blind here. You're charging into absolute murder from the side of BDS, and even when the king is absent, when he's traveled to another country somewhere exotic, the rest of them can still hold the fort down. 3-1 to BDS, a good defensive half out of them, despite the creativity coming out of Secret so far.
Yeah, I like that they're coming up with inventive ways to deal with the problems. They've obviously done a VOD review here of BDS. That is without a freaking doubt in my mind. The trouble is you deal with one problem, but you've made another problem in the midst of doing that. You've used both of your smokes, you've used all of your Selmas, you've used a lot of what you need to be able to open up key lines of sight to be able to do what you need to do. For example, if you had one more Selma in hand, they might have been able to deal with that pillar wall. Get an angle over towards the rotate, get an angle over towards blue rotate as well, and then all of a sudden you have a bit of a better angle to try and get a plant off. No freezer control, no blue bunker elbow control. It's shaky to try and take a site like that, and I did expect them to fall one by one. They did. And now that we go across to kitchen and dining, my thought process here is, number one, no maestro. I don't like when teams don't bring it for the showers just because it just adds that extra layer of protection. But there is a mirror in play here, and we've been seeing teams use the mirror on this particular wall and use impact tricks, use multiple different methods. And I tell you what, I think BDS is one of the best impact tricking teams I've seen in a long time.
The sheer fact they have 4 impact tricks on side suggests that although it's not going to be a Maestro here, and of course with the shield stacked in, a couple of ADSs too, even a Melusi Pats inside a shower corridor, they are still going to go for the Maestro-esque play. They're just going to stick either the Melusi or the Legion in here. It looks to be the Legion, which I think I quite like. Chucking those traps out into the corridor, littering them into sight wherever possible too. Does mean with those constantly going on recharge, you're basically refortifying your position the longer you spend down there. That being said, both have rotated upstairs here. They're aware that there is a push coming in from the side of Secret and want to waste some time. That's what I think would be led to believe, as it doesn't appear there is going to be a small tower take. Good adaptation and a very quick one coming out of BDS. That was lucky to not get snagged on the wall.
God, a Lems, he's got guts, and well, he's able to get that wall up and force yet more of Secret's utility. This is something that I think BDS are aware of, is that Secret has this plan in mind, and they're going to commit every bit of utility to it that they need to. Trouble with doing that is by the time they get close to site, they're out. Maybe that's what BDS has identified in one mere round, and they're going to go, we want to abuse that. Now, this clear comes out, and well, guess what? Rafael's the better shot here, and Prana goes down, and big hitter from Secret going down early, and Packle, he's about to go down as well.
Down to a blink of HP. Rafael admittedly isn't looking too healthy right now, but for BDS, they found themselves in a very favorable position. Again, I'll give immense respect to how quickly they rotated up to deal with the upstairs take. Given they've done so much setup downstairs here to completely abandon everything and go, right, everyone upstairs on the double. We know where Secret are coming from. Really good coordination and very rapid communication coming out of BDS. Shaiko strikes onto Shate, and it looks like we're going to see them completely fall to pieces here. A double kill for Shaiko. That leaves us in a 5 versus 2 in almost no time at all. There's 70 seconds left to play, Jess, but Secret have got nothing left to play with.
There's just something about the way that BDS plays and responds to all the problems and the crossfires and the communication. It's just all clean, crisp, clear. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I can only praise the team, because that problem upstairs, when they identified that they were pushing from top across rather than from small tower across, BDS didn't blink an eyelid.
Wow.
Shaiko gets a triple kill from above. I mean, they didn't blink an eyelid in rotating all of their players over towards top floor, all of their key players, rather, I should say, the fraggers and those flex players, and said, all right, you hold this angle, I'll hold your cross, we'll make a rotate here, we'll reinforce these walls here. I mean, that's stuff on the fly. And that's quick. That's quick thinking.
The one thing to think about, of course, is it isn't just going to be Secret that's prepped for this game as well. We know the BDS have been working with an analyst for a while. I know that now he's announced as well. Eagle Miz is on side, I think his name is, or Eagle Miz, I forget. Either way, with him working with them, they attributed one of their victories down to him before and the work that he had done. So it really can't be taken away, the impact these backroom staff have. They can go back and watch some of these pushes from Secret and go, right, when we're on this site or when we've seen other teams play on this site, what is the push that we've seen come out of the side of Secret? Oh, it's this kind of thing. How do we respond? We make sure we're ready to hold down the small showers. Well, small showers. We're ready to hold down showers if we need to, but also then ready to get ourselves upstairs into these positions and ready. It could have been on the fly. It could have been pre-prepared. These are the kind of things we are just going to never know. All I know is it netted a flawless round for BDS. And despite Secret's best attempts, BDS are still flying into the future. And now we go back upstairs. Speaking of flying, going upwards here. The Maestro is going to return along with them. They've been running this double intel comp a couple of times now as well, where the Maestro and the Valkyrie come along as a pairing for, I imagine, to catch out any hijinks that we might see Secret trying to employ.
I think giving BDS players more intel is dangerous. I mean, they already know how to hit their shots.
Like they need any more.
Right, and then you give them the opportunity to not only use the ping 2.0 system and yellow ping some of those players, but just have even just that sound indication from a camera sometimes could be the difference between knowing someone's pushing white stairs, for example, knowing someone's pushing armory, and knowing whether they're not. So I think that's the biggest thing here for BDS is they want to know where the push is coming from. Secret were absolutely explosive in their attack on this top floor exactly last time they brought that Ying. So I think for BDS, what they want to know is, one, can we look through the smokes with the evil eyes? Yes. Two, can we deal with them if they are very fast? Are we going to know what's happening?
Very curious to know what the plan is for Secret, given they've dropped the Habana here in favor of bringing a Thermite too. They already have the Ace, so they have these options for opening up these big holes, and you can see that one extra Thermic has been committed, as Medix is very kindly highlighting, up to the top side of Attic. Now, where they're rotating to next and what his focus becomes is what I'm keen to see. I imagine they commit at least one of them in looking towards the game wall. Are they expecting, because of the amount of impact tricking that is coming out of the side of BDS? I think that's exactly it, actually. Yes, so one gets away there. They won't get a second. Yes, they will. Are they going to try and burn through these impacts on the fact they've got so many explosives? Because I think in this case, BDS would still come out on top unless they manage to absolutely mess up one of their impact tricks.
There must be a mute jammer just in... Well, there can't be a mute jammer. I'm not sure what happened there. Okay. He gets to have yet another go, and he'll toss it on the right-hand side of the wall, which is exactly where you want that kind of default plan to go, especially when you still have two smokes. The big player here, the very important person, is Hive. He needs to get this spot on here. He needs to be able to get this plant down, or at least these smokes out. That Pack will be able to get this plant down. And in order for Secret to get this off successfully, they need that Maestro cam, that Evil Eye gone as well.
They're playing for a similar setup here where the plan looks like to get inside trophy, plan to be done with it, else they'll be looking down towards the south instead. I'm not sure how happy I feel about this without the Ying, but they're definitely going to try and make it work.
That grenade was overcooked. It means it didn't bounce off the door frame and over towards the Evil Eye, so completely missed it. Evil Eye still stands up. This is the adaptation I was talking about. BDS know that they planted there last time, so guess what? Smoke it all you want. We've got an Evil Eye looking straight at you, so for you planting, we're going to know exactly where you are. A small adaptation will reap big rewards. Here we go.
Well, this is their adaptation. They're moving the Planter into game instead with Prano once again on big window. Can he strike big as they bring out the smokes and everything else comes flying in? They're not aware of the Lem downstairs. C4 is out. They must know surely that Patbull is in the default spot, but will get away with this. And Hive has absolutely snagged the hell out of BDS. Prano striking in big from the window. 3 kills come their way. Elem might trade it back, but Hive has fragged out today. I know that he's a bit guilty sometimes of over peaking, but today he has peaked to save his little heart. And that should be Secret taking another round here on the attack. 4-2 at the half to BDS on the defense. A scoreline we've come to expect, but my God, was that exciting and thrilling from round to round, Jess.
My biggest takeaway from this first half here is that Secret was prepared for BDS. And in doing so, they'd come up with these strategies that I actually think they wouldn't employ against most other teams. It's that they've just been able to read into the setup of BDS and go, we can do this, 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 and this, and it's going to work. And we're going to use it with smokes or candelas in previous rounds, etc. And then each round, BDS is reading them and learning and slowly adapting to them, and Secret's having to adapt to the adaptations. It's just an adaptation whirlpool between both of these teams, and it's getting more vicious and vicious as the rounds go on. Now that the sides flip, that'll be again. Now it'll be BDS reading Secret on their defense and how they set up and going, now we know how you play. Now we know what your style is. Secret's going to have to, play a little bit unpredictable again on their defense if they want to not get adapted to as quick as BDS are putting things together now.
It's a game of chess. You've always got to think 3 or 4 steps ahead, and I like that we get this halfway point where it does give a bit of a reset. We get to see what Secret have prepared on the defense and equally what BDS have prepared on the attack. I'm sad to report, ladies and gentlemen, there is no Ying being brought along by BDS. Something that quite exotic, but we are going to see the Nomad coming out nonetheless for Elem. Something they pick up quite a few times. I remember they were one of the first teams to employ things like Gridlock plus Nomad together on maps like Consulate, so not surprised they are still looking towards things like the Nomad to help with a bit of flank control. Maybe here looking towards Shate or potentially out towards Prano and that Malusi and that Jaeger, looking for a roam game, looking to try and disrupt BDS when it comes round to the execution time.
Looks like BDS might employ almost the same push that we've seen Secret do on this particular side, but their main point of attack to start off with will be blue bunker. This is something that Secret didn't bother doing. It's probably because it takes a lot of utility, and you also have to go up against that pillar player that is likely to swing whenever they damn want. You can put an edge out there, but it doesn't matter. They can still look through the door. So Shaiko, he needs to cook those ADSs, get that elbow control, make sure no one peeks him at the same time, and make sure that soft wall has no bullets raining through it. It's a big job.
Is Shaiko playing the Shate role? Admittedly, very different players when you look at the comparison between them. What you think of when you think of Shate and what you think of when you think of Shaiko. Probably two very different things, but either way, a similar role to play here. And we commented on this a little bit on Monday, how Ash is now more of that supportive role. It's less about being the out and out. I'm running in, I'm a 3-speed, and I'm getting all the kills. The fact that you have the flashes and the breach charges in a meta where Wamai and Jaeger are both a thing, they're becoming quite important. Now, even though the Wamai isn't available here, you've still got to bear some mind to shields that are being brought along by the Goyo, whatever else it is you've got to focus on in terms of utility. The Malusi Banshees as well coming through. There's a lot to worry about. And Hythe, he really wants Shaiko dead. Going to peek out, but Shaiko doesn't lose those. Does he ever? Finds the opening kill, and that really should have been a kill for Hythe, but that's a shutdown straight away onto the mirror, and I believe with that, a lost C4.
Hey, there we go, Shate playing that pillar position really well done onto Renshiro. The big thing now is that they've been able to get Shaiko quite low, and I think they're probably pretty aware of it. And they also hear someone on the back stairs. Now, this is so much better here from Secret. They've moved their Banshee further down back stairs. Unfortunately, BDS put it all the way up the back, and they can't destroy it where it is. And now for Secret, this hold is looking much better. Good first defensive round here if they can hold this out, because I'm not entirely sure a big clutch from the two hard breaches is an incoming factor.
45 seconds to go, and yes, they are down to just a couple of hard breaches. A bit of a dream between the pair of them as well to close this round down and keep that gap away from Secret. It would extend it to 3 rounds, but with how Secret are set up, with the 4 members still left alive and none of them inside of BDS right now, it does feel like all they got to do is sit back and wait and watch this go to a 4 versus 3 very, very comfortably. Brede, one of the best rated players in the competition back in stage 1. Everyone was shocked to see what he could do with operators like the Smoke. Here on the Habana, can he take up Shaiko's old mantle and achieve the impossible? Turn this round for them, because he's in a 1 versus 4. Patbull with a great C4 coming out. It's not just grenades his team are good at. Also turns out they're not too bad with the C4 in their hand either. 5 seconds to go. Brede, far too much to do. And Patbull, he is that backline we spoke about, that player that's come in and made it massive for them when it comes to having the defensive backline that this team needs. Shines up big for them and gets the closing 2 kills.
Good setup there from Secret, and I think what really allowed them to be able to hold that off was how positively they were holding blue bunker. BDS, that was clear to them that that was a power position, and I'm really worried that if you can't take a power position as is necessary for your push, and you're just standing there waiting and hoping that they peek you, that's not always the play. Secret are a smart team. Maybe in other teams, they're really aggressive. They're going to peek you from every which angle. They really didn't do that there. The mirror was the only one that really came out further beyond where she needed to be. She got Ash impacted. She got put down as a result. And I think Draven did a really, really smart job of holding that pillar door there. No one could move down backstairs on him because Shate was just lighting up pillar. It was a great hold. I am worried, however, that BDS are falling into the comfort zone of going, we should win this based off frags alone. That's not how that works.
And I like that Secret aren't trying to force that kind of game. I mentioned there towards the end that you didn't really see anyone looking to contest. They just sat back and were like, look, if you guys want to try and push side, we know we've got the numbers advantage. We aren't going to be stupid and take these 1v1 peaks. Some teams tonight, like a contest, have tried to do exactly that and often lost as a result of trying to do so. But it's about that team unity. It's not about playing for the greed. It's about playing sensibly, and that's what I liked about it. But credit to BDS for at least trying to tick that one up. And again, Shaiko back at the very start, winning that 1 versus 1 onto an ironically aggressive Hythe. At least gave them something in that round. So let's not count them out yet and say, man, Secret have got the best defenses. They can definitely do this. BDS can still swing their way back in this. We've seen what they can do against so many teams already. In fact, on day 1, I remember back how it was then, just how gross against Secret, against Chaos it was, sorry. They were just the better team. And I imagine, Jess, you're about to talk to me about that electrified hatch with the shield on.
Didn't we criticize them one time because they had that little pixel angle? There it is. Draven setting it up now. And we criticized them because it was read into, was it read into by Rogue or whoever it was read into by? And they went below and they used Habana charges to deal with it. This time they've gone, don't worry, we'll put a Kaid on there and then they can't destroy it from anywhere. Haha. And we'll put an ADS to protect the shield and the Kaid charge. a great adaptation from learning that they wanted that pixel pick, they wanted that key position, but they didn't know how to hold it. And, well, now they've got a Kaid Electric Claw to deal with it. I think it would work, but BDS are far more focused on Attic at the moment. Whether or not that becomes a position they even challenge, we'll see.
Just about getting through Attic at the moment. About 60 seconds in, they have finally dealt with the wall. I believe at first there wasn't an electric charge on it. They managed to get the Hibana X-Kairos off on the bottom side of it and then realized, oh, they've electrified it. We're going to have to get the Maverick to work on the top side to enable us to step through. And now that's done, there is no one actually holding inside of Attic for the side of Secret. They just completely said, we don't want it right now. Pig is clear despite a couple of ADSs and I think one ADS, sorry, and a shield being committed to it. They've just said, back away, let them come once more. Don't try and go for those 1v1 aggressive peaks. We'll feel pretty happy once it comes down to contesting when they come to execute. Grenade comes singing in an attempt, I believe, to clear out the shield that was inside of Pig, so that should now be gone. Otherwise, no, it's still there. So I thought maybe they'd have been able to get it through, but I think it just fell short of the wall.
It'd be hard to get that through that particular skinny hole that they've made at the bottom there. So not a surprise. Shaiko, surely he hears this going off below. The Deagle's a very loud weapon, and Shaiko's in just arm's reach here of that Valkyrie. I think he thinks he must be in kitchen. The sound must be... There we go. He actually is. There is a rotate, so he wasn't wrong. I'll take that back. And kills have been kicking off in other parts of the maps that we've been speaking about this. But I think the big thing here is that they haven't dealt with the key position here on the hatch. Lems needs to win this gunfight to get them access, and he's lit him up to 1 HP.
A couple still hanging at the back, and Draven somehow swings out and finds that kill, puts us back into a 3 versus 3, but Draven is a dead man walking. No HP left, as you alluded to. A single shot, and he is done. So all it's going to take is a bit of spray towards him. You can basically blow at him at this point. He's going to find himself falling over. 2 members of BDS stacking up towards Big Window. Shate holding in the corner like a little rat. Renshira looking in towards Pig. So many animals on this map, it's unbelievable. Grenade comes through. Draven finally finds himself going down to that grenade. Won't be finished off, though. Just injured at this point. And Shate probably wondering, is it even worth thinking about recovering him? The answer is no. He's in a 1 versus 3, and in comes Brede to get that closing kill. A good closing execute by BDS.
I thought after all the work that Draven was able to achieve in that one particular spot there, they might be able to close that one out. And those players actually decided they would do a triple pinch push there, one coming from Attic, one coming from Double Window, and one from White Stairs. And if one of those players loses their gunfight, that's a big area of the pinch that's gone. They all just won their gunfights. And I don't know who it was that was saying this, and someone on Twitter, one of the professional community, and they said the thing about BDS is that sometimes they don't even need to open a wall. Sometimes they can just rely solely on their gun skill and their coordination. It's not just, oh, Shaiko can hit heads better than everyone else. It's that Shaiko has a pinch. He has a player giving him the call. He has all of this teamwork that enables them to be so grossly good. And I think that's why BDS, even in a struggle situation such as that, still comes out on top.
Setting up on the bottom side. Now we are going to see a Maestro coming out for the side of Secret, even though it wasn't... Well, BDS chose not to run it earlier on, as we know. I did see... I was going to say, we saw Hive go running off upstairs, and I was curious to know what it was that he was doing. Has he gone to set up a camera in small tower? He might have gone for that for knowing when they do come around to look towards going for the control of there. So common for attacking teams to smash the floor to pieces, get the angle through into dining. It does enable you to contest in towards the freezer area as well. Often why you'll sometimes see both of the north walls inside of freezer reinforced, or at the very least the left one. And I believe that's what Secret have gone for here. Left the right hand one soft, but that left one will stop the Maestro being shot by the player that plays upstairs inside a small office. Thank you very much, medics.
Yeah, huge shout out to medics. And actually, whilst we're midstream here, if we're shouting people out, can I give a huge shout out to Nata Bright? He recently decided he'd give up his mod duties, but after doing the Lord's work with those mod duties over so many months and months and months, thousands of hours he's probably put into the Siege chat. I want to thank him personally and from the community. Thank you so much for being part of it. You've done an excellent job. And now that you don't get to swing that sword, enjoy the stream as a viewer, enjoy the games, and hopefully we can keep bringing it to you, and you'll keep jumping in chat with us.
Latam streams will never be the same without him and Jenna waving those swords around.
Oh yeah.
They have a lot of fun there. They are known as the chill, feel-good streams. If you like rehost riddles and all that kind of good stuff, maybe you should check it out sometime. Either way, we're 2 minutes, well, not 2 minutes in, 2 minutes remaining in this round. Secret, as we saw, setting up out towards the west side. Nothing too crazy or exotic coming out from BDS either, but it looks like rather than being a small tower take, which we'd normally see, it is going to be a bit of a focus out towards meeting. Something that we don't really see all that often, I would wager. They've even go as far as breaching through into kitchen here and are now starting to drone out so they know what the next plan of action has got to be. With Renshiro down to the south, a couple inside a meeting, they have got a couple of angles of attack here. I just want to make sure that someone is definitely going to come across from the west to at the very least apply some pressure.
Doing a meeting take is actually really strong when you know your opponents are completely set up for a western side push. They are not prepared for this particular push. You know what they've got? One evil eye and some rotates. That's often not enough. And there goes one of the player denials into a DB&O state. Shaiko above. It seems like he just does the 1v3, all of them. He'll get the second as well. Surely Draven gets picked up, possibly. And now it's up to Hype. He's the last top floor energy here for his teammates.
And given how Shate was just sprinting back to site with his tail between his legs, surely you want to leave, but no, also gets pinched and isolated, and that puts us into a 5 versus 2. At least Shate bites back, but can they even stop this plant going down? It's going to be a swing around, and Renshiro, the MVP of the stage for BDS, collects the kill. Prano try as he might. That was, all intents and purposes, a flawless round coming out for BDS. Well responded, and like you say, Secret, a little bit light on the eastern side hold there. Weren't even aware of what Shaiko was doing when he came for that drop. Really good top floor take by BDS.
It's just, a singular player shouldn't have this much skill. I don't mean to harp on about it. And a lot of people, they like to meme Shaiko, but a singular player should not have that amount of skill in one body. It's unfathomable to me that he can move in from Armory all the way over, know that he's up against 2 to 3 players in top floor, the same way in configuration that BDS play it, and play it so expertly, and not flinch once, not walk away from a gunfight once, and almost always win them. This player is what I would consider to be one of the best players in the world, my top 5. Absolutely. And he deserves that praise because he does his job at an expert level.
What I will give to the team, and I know for the longest time BDS was a Shaiko and the rest team. You put drones at his feet, he walks in and kills people, right? What I always find is whenever you spoke to those in the community or those within BDS themselves, they'd always say it is more than just a one-man game, and Shaiko himself knows that too. And what I love is that over the months, and I spoke about this before, we have seen different members of BDS step up and make themselves heard. Last stage, it wasn't Shaiko, it was Brede getting all the top numbers. Look at the major, Renshiro, top rated in every single game, highest kills, highest KD, highest everything going for him. The dude was an absolute monster. And now we've come into this stage, it's like, even Rafal in this game, think about the number of entries that he has won. I'm just sitting here thinking, where is the weakness in this team? Who do you point at and go, well, they're not as good as the rest, or they're not carrying the weight? Because it feels like everyone plays a role that is realized and done to near perfection, that they are so difficult to stop. And it's such a crying shame that we're not going to see a global major coming in the next month or two. I would have loved to have seen our BDS stack up on a global stage, given the journey they've gone through with the removal of panics and the addition of Brede.
Well, the removal of Alems is going to be the problem here. That was a really good peek out onto that Zofia, and that's a huge hit there. A lot of utility loss for the attackers. As you know, Zofia's got so much to play with, and it's obviously a weapon down as well, a whole body and a set of drones, of which he had just tossed one in. So, again, Blue Bunker is the focus, Des. My problem is, last time they tried this, it was a big old fail. Can Secret repeat that, or does BDS learn something from their last loss?
There's an opening kill to the side of Secret. We'll see if that old curse of finding the opening kill and not being able to close around prevails, even when they are on the defensive side. Once more, BDS are being held out here. Being held in L, held inside of construction, unable really to push forwards, as all the angles are being held at range by Secret. Not too close that they can get themselves brought down, but close enough that BDS know they are present and those angles are not safe to cross. A couple are holding in construction. There's one on tower, I believe, to the north. It looks like Renshiro quite a bit above. We'll be looking to move down there soon too. So there is an alignment of 3 players here pushing onto the northern side. I'm not quite sure where that leaves the last member of BDS. Maybe looking for an alternative angle or potentially maneuvering up. In fact, no, same spot. I'm a liar. There are 3 in construction rather than just the 2. High swings out, finds Shaiko. This round feels like it's going the same way as the last time we played this site though, Jess, where Secret are just picking up these kills one after the other.
You never know. A star player could just pull something out of the bag here for BDS. They've still got a little bit of utility to use that they can throw out. I'm not sure whether Rafale also has a grenade in pocket, but I know Renshiro does, and that's something that they could possibly use. One flash. I don't know if there's an ADS there or not. Maybe some entry strategies. 3x Kairos in the pocket of Bride. Is there a mute jammer? Okay, there's a mute jammer on there. Yeah, it's looking like a bit of a yikes now, Des. I'm putting it all through my head. Nothing can be opened properly. They don't really have the opportunity to make entryways. Looks like Rafale's going to try because there's a mute jammer on that wall. But with 35 seconds left, it doesn't bode well for them.
I think you noticed in the spot here where there just simply isn't enough time to get this wall open and look to go for an execute. But 30 seconds, teams can do an awful lot in 30 seconds as long as you start connecting your kills. Shate put down to nothing, and not even a single shot is traded back onto Renshiro. It's a start, but equally being traded out. In fact, no, that's 2 kills coming in, so it was the other way around. They got traded back out. Massive double C4 kill coming out from the Rackpat. In he goes in, finds a couple for himself. Brano steps in as he always does and picks up a critical kill for Secret. That is how you close the round out, and it looks like there's a revolt underway. Secret move up to 4 rounds, and can we see a draw coming out here? It's almost what this matchup dictates, I think, Jess.
I think it's what the matchup also kind of deserves as well. I mean, we saw Secret on the up and up and up. BDS are on match point. They've already absolutely secured 1 point. So they're not going to go, they're not going to go undefeated per se if we do get that draw, but they are going to feel pretty handily that they're one of the best teams in Europe by far. Easily. So Hive having a bit of a banger game. I actually didn't realize he had 10 kills. Sometimes a player could pop off and you don't really realize the impact that they're having. So good to see him having a good game. I think the big thing here now, you got 2 more rounds to at least get yourself 1 point. You could say then, yeah, maybe BDS and I or we are at least on par with each other. And you're on their turf. I said this at the beginning of the matchup. This is probably something I really want to harp on a bit. You're on BDS's turf. Oregon is BDS's turf. Even if Dev says that Team Secret are good on this map, anyone says it, I will argue to the cows come home that this is the turf of BDS, and it's a map they've really come to perfect.
I guess the hard question is, given their recent run of results, what map aren't they good on, Jess? And I know you probably turn around and go, well, the strats here aren't as good, or they don't execute as well, or at as good time, or whatever. I completely get the point. But at this point, it's very hard to pull out a single map and say, BDS shouldn't go there. They are not good there, because they beat every single team no matter where they go. Maybe someone will challenge that soon. Can't wait for when the major swings around and there's a lot more prep time for these teams to get ready for each other. Imagine another Secret versus BDS showdown. That is one to dream about.
Oh, that major's just going to be something else. I really, really can't wait. But Secret have decided, let's meet them at the front door. And I don't think anyone's actually really even there to be met. No, just Bride. He's just holding out the long angle on that front door. I wonder what scope he's using on his Type 89, actually. With all the inclusion of these new scopes, it's really interesting to see which scopes and zooms that these players are favoring. A lot of people have gone back and got, okay, I don't mind the 1.5, or no, I really want to keep the ACOG. You can see Renshiro on his L85. He wants to keep the ACOG in play. A lot of other people have swapped things around as necessary. I like to see the adaptation from players here to deal with it. And this time, now they have to, I think they want to deal with that hatch that we spoke about last time that was electrified. This time, it's not electrified and they can deal with it. So do they rotate Bride over to deal with that? Possibly.
This is normally the play where they open up the wall inside of dining and then look to open the hatch from there. It's a pretty safe angle to play within. And it's about this vertical play that we saw Secret attempting earlier on in their attack that really didn't work out very well. BDS proving themselves to be the kings of vertical play. The Secret were left wanting a little bit more. Shate going to make use of his secret getaway, that hatch that was opened up, and drops down. But Shaiko is in close pursuit, not dropping through the same hatch, but is looking to come after him like a weird car chase in a strange criminal movie. But I like that. It's going to be the side of Shate slipping away, still alive, and Hive elsewhere strikes in onto Renshiro. Now, I think now that they've cleared Shate away, they feel a lot more comfortable in taking control of more of this downstairs area and looking to contest these vertical angles. It's going to make things a little bit hot for the side of Secret upstairs. It's like dancing around in a pan while there's fire underneath it. It ain't a pretty time, and quite literally there is fire burning throughout the top floor. Rafale with an explosion catches out Hive, or at least with a frag grenade I should say, that leads to an explosion. Looking at the execution time here, Jess, 55 seconds to go. They are at a slight numbers disadvantage given that kill that came through to Alem, but Shaiko is still alive. You picked him up once. Can he find a second? Finds the one, steps inside. He's inside a game without the diffuser on side, but that doesn't mean that Rafale is not. They've got a couple downstairs. The C4 is in the wrong place. He could have stuck that one out, but I think heard the rip and thought, nope, not a good time. And Shaiko loses the attempt on the downstairs. A 3 versus 1, and it feels like we're going to get that round 12 that we've been seeking after, unless Rafale can pull off some magic in these final 30 seconds.
The cool, calm, collected player that Rafale is. I really highlighted him as one of my key support players at SI 2020. I hyped him tenfold. We've seen multiple clutches from him, especially during 6 Invitational, but it's not to be, and that's okay, because guess what? Now we're in contention for the true contenders against BDS. We wanted a team that could really hang it to BDS. And people will say, yeah, but Rogue did that in stage 1. Yeah, but I'm saying that every team's had all of stage 1 to warm up, plus the mini major for those teams who did participate, or the off season if they didn't. Now that you're in stage 2, teams are what we like to call solidified. They're synergized, they're solidified. All roster changes have been made final as of stage 1, and so, or rather the stage 2 in the off season that they've had those changes. For Secret, those changes came into effect like a big old punch instantly, and they worked. Now they're going up against the BDS that is fortified. They're absolutely fortified inside and out. If you can tie with them on Oregon, then I can happily say they can walk away and say, we are on par with BDS at the moment. They can walk away and say that. Then they've got the major to prove that they are.
Well, look at the changes they're making. Maestro being brought along once again for another Showers hold coming out. No big surprises there. The Valkyrie is still on side mode, no doubt looking towards those cameras that we saw previously. The thing that they struggled with last time, and let's not forget, this will be all down now to Secret's tenacity in-game. There's no coach that can help you, no one that can give you the secret answers here. It's not like a test where you've got someone to cheat for you. Well, Medix is getting very excited about parkour once again with drones, because why not? We had a wonderful parkour contest yesterday on Cafe. But like I was saying here, Secret are the ones that need to adapt. They need to be aware of what BDS did last time. They completely tore them a new one out towards the Eastern meeting, and there was seemingly nothing that Secret could do. It's on the players now, their in-game leadership, the communication, the experience they've built up in their grind from all the way from being unknown players in T4 and T3 to now being and looking like one of the best teams in Tier 1. This is where you prove what you're made of, boys. Can you win a crucial round and take another point away from BDS?
I wanted to point out that they put 2 Banshees over towards Armory, because the last time when Shaiko pushed there, he absolutely swept the floor with them. Now there's 2 Banshees in like clear direct. There you go. You can see one in the middle of games and then one almost over towards bunk door. They seriously don't want him running at them. They just don't want him running at them from top floor. The drone from Shaiko will zoom in, surely spot out what he's going up against. But guess what? He's the Ash. He can evade it. He can destroy it. And yes, he does destroy one.
Well, it's more looking at it like, this is the gauntlet I've got to face in this round. I give it a difficulty score of 6 out of 10. It's a bit of a challenge, but I think I can get away with this one, guys. Let's see what he can do on the top floor once it does come to moving forwards. Otherwise, it's down to the rest of BDS.
No.
Oh, Shate. Surely you know. Surely there's a Valkyrie camera somewhere. Surely there's some intuition that given what they did last round, you know they are going to be inside a meeting. And that is a critical opening death. Like, yeah, sure, it's Jaeger, it's disposable. It's still a 5 versus 4 where every single gun counts in this matchup.
No, losing Shate is such a huge loss. And Prado, what is Maestro doing all the way downstairs? Alem's almost caps him there. And you know what he says? I'm a dip. And that's the right answer. Why? Because a 3 speed, or rather a 1 speed, all that far off site, get on site and get on site now. Because if you can do that, you've left someone all the way who's really quite required on site at that time with the Elder, who won't be able to get that plant denial happening for them. But they are struggling with this top floor. And I think Shaiko, he's hoping he can ramp this up now.
There's one playing on window here, and Draven's holding nice and close with the shotgun. It's in his hand, but misses the shot, and they're going to connect it on the other side. It's Alem bringing down Draven, a 5 versus 3. Secret, they were so close, but it feels like it might be slipping away. But wait, Shaiko down and injured. Bride finds another kill for himself with the plant finally going down. A 4 versus 2. Diffuser going down would be huge. Sees the head, but can't click. It's just a few seconds too far. BDS take round number 12. It ends 7-5, but we've been treated to a spectacle today, Jess. I can't wait to see see the next time they play. But BDS practically cement themselves as number one. There is zero chance they don't make the finals, zero chance they don't make the major. What a performance from the French team.
What a performance from both of these two teams here today. We said this would be the match of the day, and the match of the day they gave us. Absolute smashing job. Look at that hype. Shate stepping up for the team, and Shaiko and Alam as well, doing the Lord's work for their team to net that win. A narrow win nonetheless. And